In the end, it turned out I had met the man who killed me on 5 previous occasions. The first time was when I was about 16 or 17. I was in a McDonald's and he served me. I noticed his flaming red hair and I remember thinking, look at that dude. Glad I don't look like that. I ordered a filet-o-fish sandwich. I met him again about a year and a half later, my final summer in town, before heading off to university. I'd been fortunate enough to land a good-paying job working in the local hospital kitchen, where my main duty was running a big Hobart dishwashing machine. It appeared I was to replace the red-haired guy, whose name was Lance, and that he was supposed to train me, which he did, rather grudgingly. What impressed me about Lance, besides his thick red hair, was his attitude, his bad attitude. He complained about the job, about how dirty it was, about the boss, and about the other people, how stupid they were, but above all, about the pay. I'm blowing this pop stand, man. I'm blowing this pop stand and going out west. He struck a pose and intoned, "Go west, young man, go west." This monologue of complaint about the hospital as compared to the virtues of the West went on all day, interspersed with odd bits of information about the job and about actually running the dishwasher. At some points in the grand narrative, he was going to Calgary, at other points, the oil patch. But by the end of the day, he could have gone to hell for all I cared. I didn't like or respect the guy, to say the least. Never once did he ask me about my future plans, which involved heading to university to study drama. I was just there to listen to him and interject the odd question. Lance was self-absorbed, to put it mildly. It was a long day. A very long day. I never expected to see Lance again, but I did. The third time was during the Christmas holidays, after my first semester at university, at a New Year's Eve party. I was sitting in a dark corner talking to Charlotte, a girl I really, really liked. As in really, really liked. I liked her because she was attractive, short and slight, with long black hair and gray-blue eyes. And I knew what color her eyes were. That shows how much I liked her. But I also liked her because she was a free spirit, intellectual and artistic. Charlotte was the type of girl that, when you saw her reading D.H. Lawrence, it didn't look like a pose. In fact, she could have been a female character out of Lawrence. I always thought she was out of my league, but she seemed really engaged in our conversation, so I began to have hopes. And then Lance appeared out of nowhere. "Hey, Charlotte," he boomed, totally ignoring me as he sat down. Charlotte seemed happy to see him. Seemed very happy to see him. "Hi, Lance," she said with a big smile. "Jay was just telling me about studying drama." Lance burst out laughing. "Drama," he crowed, his voice full of derision. I didn't know how to defend myself, but I took my best shot. "How was Calgary?" This seemed to confuse him, and I guessed he had never gone there. What about Calgary? You said you were planning to go out there, out west. Hey, buddy, do I know you? Lance said angrily. I reminded him of our time in the dish room together and how he had told me he was Alberta bound. Never got there, he said, glaring at me. I got a better job around here. Oh, yeah? What doing? I didn't believe a word he said. But Lance didn't waste any time arguing with me. Instead, he grabbed Charlotte's hand, pulling her to her feet, and announced, "Quit wasting time with this loser, babe. I want to show you something." Charlotte went with him without a backward glance at me, while I ended up walking home alone, trying not to think about what Lance might be going to show her. I didn't see Lance again for 2 or 3 years, and when I saw him next, the 4th time, Charlotte was with him. I was walking up Yonge Street in Trana with a buddy who was going to school there in the Big Smoke. It was a warm August night, and street vendors had set up tables along the sidewalk. Lance and Charlotte had one, selling pieces of jewelry that Charlotte made. Supposedly. Charlotte greeted me warmly, while Lance just glared at me. I noticed they were both covered in tattoos, and I couldn't help wondering why a pretty woman like Charlotte would do that to herself. Lance spoke to me first, as Charlotte showed some of the jewelry to my friend. "We just do this on weekends," he said. "I've got a good job during the week. Down on Bay Street, eh?" Bay Street was Toronto's financial district, and I couldn't help thinking that if he really did work down there, it was as a janitor or security guard. "Are you selling a lot of stuff?" I asked him, just to say something. "Oh, yeah. Charles is amazing," he said in a rather offhand manner. Yeah, I thought to myself, it's amazing that she's with a loser like you. What a waste. A few young women had stopped to look at the jewelry, so we said our goodbyes and pushed on up Yonge Street. I was in a rather wistful mood for the rest of the evening, thinking about Charlotte, about what might have been, and in the end, I got rather drunk that night. I never saw Charlotte again. I don't know what eventually happened to her. The last time. I didn't see Lance again for over 15 years, but one winter's day, my doorbell rang, and opening my front door, I found a package waiting for me on the step. The delivery driver was walking down the driveway towards his truck, so being a polite Canadian, I called out, "Thank you." The driver was a big, bulky guy, clad in a winter coat. He threw a quick glance over his shoulder, muttered, "Yeah," and continued on to his truck. I only caught a glimpse of his face, broad, dissipated, the red hair thinning, and it wasn't until I was inside the house that I realized it was Lance. His manner had been so rude and offhand, I wondered if he had recognized my name on the parcel. I was a bit concerned to think he knew where I lived. The parcel contained some clothing I had ordered, and I was grateful it hadn't held anything he could have damaged or broken. But in the end, I convinced myself that Lance probably didn't even know my name, or that he had recognized me. and I forgot all about it. The next time I encountered Lance, he killed me. I was driving home from a late-night meeting, thankfully alone, when Lance's battered Dodge Ram pickup crossed lanes and struck me head-on. We were both killed instantly. Lance had 3 times the legal limit for alcohol in his system when the crash occurred. I came to in a dingy room which looked like the reception area in a hospital emergency ward. It even had the same hard, ugly plastic seats. Some bored-looking people sat behind desks, ignoring us. The staff? Lance was sitting next to me, looking extremely pissed off. What happened? I said. We're dead, asshole, he smirked. You had to hit me. I did nothing of the sort, I sputtered. You hit me. Lance laughed. At this point, what difference does it make? I have a wife and 3 children, I cried. And I actually began to cry. Well, I had nothing, Lance sneered. Death is the great equalizer, ain't it? I was filled with rage at this stupid, sullen excuse for a man. How someone like you gets into heaven is beyond me. Lance began braying with laughter, till his fat face turned as red as his remaining hair. When he finally recovered, his answer was, What makes you think this is heaven? Oh. The moral of the story? As Jean-Paul Sartre once said, hell is other people, but other people can also be heaven. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,500 subs in 2022. Till midnight. Cheers. Pictures used in today's video, courtesy of Pix Here, that's PX Here, while the music was the awesome Aftermath by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod. Thanks for listening.